Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here, and this is just the beginning. I'm Ellie, and I hope you're doing well, and today's episode is going to be a really deep one, but it's something that I really love talking about, and something that I've talked a lot about in therapy recently, and I thought I just had to share it with you guys. But first, a little life update for you. To be fair, not a lot has happened the past couple weeks, and I do apologise for not doing a podcast episode, but I have been going through a breakup recently, so I've been a bit MIA, so I do apologise for that, but I'm getting back on the grind with my blogging and my podcasting, because it's obviously something I enjoy, but I kind of just hid myself away for a couple weeks, so I'm back, I'm feeling good. I'm really focusing on prioritising myself recently, which is something I've not done in over a year, because I don't know about you, but when you're in a relationship, you just kind of put all of your effort into the relationship and you just forget about, or I did anyway, but you just forget about yourself and you don't prioritise yourself, even if it's not really self-sabotage as such. I've talked about that a lot in the past anyway, but it's not really self-sabotage, it's just you just want to make the relationship work, and I spent so much effort trying to make it work and it just didn't, so it kind of feels like a waste, but it's not. I learned a lot of things from it, and I still love him, obviously, but it just wasn't working, which makes it a lot harder, and I hate this kind of breakup, but, you know, it's done, it's over. We move forward with it. I spent a lot of last week, I had the week off work, so I spent a lot of it down back at uni with my friends, which was so good to see them again, and then also in Bath, me and my mum went down to see my sister, the Christmas market. It was really, really fun, and I highly suggest going to Bath if you're in the UK, because the Christmas market there is insane, although I think it has just finished for the year, so maybe not, but yeah, it's really fun, and we had a really good weekend down there. I was violently ill the one day because we stayed up very late drinking, and I do not recommend that in any way. No, I don't miss being a student sometimes but I'm still young, so I'm still going to do those things, and you don't have to follow these rules and expectations of, oh, you got a job now, you can't go out partying. And this is exactly what I want to talk about in this episode. So, as you can see from the episode title, today I really want to talk about the expectations and the rules we learn growing up, and how we can break free from these social constructs. Because, and I'm going to say this first of all, these are social constructs. Someone, a group of people, many years ago, made up these rules that we have to follow in life, and it makes us feel so overwhelmed when we can't stick to these rules if something goes wrong in our life, if we choose a different life path, and we feel like we failed if we don't follow these rules. But I am going to unpack it slowly through this episode. I've actually got a structure for once today, but I'm probably going to go off on many tangents, so please bear with me. First of all, I kind of want to unpack childhood expectations and all the rules and expectations that we get filtered into our mind from a very young age. And as I've talked about a lot in this episode, and I don't know if you guys go to uni or you don't go to uni, whatever, but I've talked about it a lot, and I feel like a lot of you do go to uni or you're going to go to uni, so I am going to mention it here. But if you went to school like I did, and I feel like this is a lot of schools, you are forced down your throat that you have to go to uni and there's no other option. That is all my school talked about, and I've talked about this a lot to you guys as well. But from the age of 12, in year 7, it was like, oh, wait, what uni are you going to go to? What do you want to study? And I just think it's way too young to start making those life decisions. You start GCSEs in year 9 sometimes, and you have to make the decision of what subjects you want to study, and that will set you up for your whole life. And the stress you get doing your GCSEs, sure, they're the most stressful thing you've ever had to do for your entire life. Yeah, I get that. But I look back, I had so many mental breakdowns at age 15 doing my GCSEs, and I thought, oh my god, if I don't get straight A's, it's going to be the end of me. When I had friends who were struggling to get C's, and this pressure I put on myself to get straight A's, which I did, and to be fair, that came from a lot of hard work and a lot of self-sabotage, punishment, and I just was not in a good place because I just put so much pressure on myself because that's what I thought I had to do. I got told that I was clever and I deserved to get those grades from my teachers, so then I made sure I did get those grades. And on one side, I think that was myself. Actually, no, wait. Mainly it is myself putting all that pressure on me to do well, because I thought, oh, that's what my parents want to see, that's what my grandparents want to see, that's what my friends want to see, they know I'm clever, I should get these grades. To be honest, if I look back, I could have done half the work and still got good grades. But I had to study every single day so much, and it just literally drained me. Even back in year 7, the first year of high school, when we first had the end of year exams, I don't know if you did it at your school, but we did end of year exams every year. I was so stressed. And at age 12, I learned how to study, revise for months on end for these just end of year exams. And again, the pressure was that, oh yeah, you need to do well in especially English and maths because you'll be sat next year in those subjects. So you need to do really well in them if you want to be in a good cert, if you want to get a good teacher. And I was like, it was just so much pressure from such a young age. And that's why I hate the school system. The fact that you have to do exams all the time. And I know, like, you're probably thinking, what's the alternative? I don't know what the alternative is myself, but it's so much pressure from such a young age. And then when we get older, 16, or even before then, probably like 14, you're like, oh, are you going to go to uni? Are you not going to go to uni? Oh, but you should go to uni. And it's just the most painful experience. And at my school as well, we had a sixth form connected to the school, which was the main reason why people went to my school, because the sixth form was really good or something. And I don't really know, I just stayed there. I never thought about, oh, should I go to college instead, or should I do an apprenticeship? Like, we had no options. And the people who did go do that from my school, maybe their parents had done that, or they weren't that good at academics and they knew they wanted to do something else that wasn't very academic, you know. But still, I'm not like berating that. No, like, I respect them so much for choosing what they want to do from that age, because it's so hard to know what you want to do. So those people that do go do an apprenticeship in something that they really want to do, amazing. Like, my best friend is a hairdresser and I love that so much. And obviously she's been earning so much money the past 4 years because she's been doing that from 16, whereas I'm still a student. I mean, I'm working now, but I'm like, I wish I did an apprenticeship to get money, because that's what a lot of people do it for. And I've got a cousin who is my age and he's already got a house because he did an apprenticeship and he's got a lot of money and he can do that. So I'm just like, why do people not talk about that? More expectations from a young age are like, oh, you have to get married at 28, you have to have kids by 30, you have to have a good job, and you can only have one career your whole life. And I just think, why do people talk about that? Also in the UK, that is a very fixed mindset, especially with the job thing, that, oh my god, no, you can't then go learn to do something else, you can't go back to uni, you can't switch your job like in the middle of your life. My mum has done so much in her life. Like, she went to uni when she was my age, but then she dropped out. And then she went into insurance, and then she like got married with my dad, and then she was a stay-at-home mum for a while, but then she worked for my dad, and then she was doing an open university degree at the same time when we were like 7 years old, and I cannot understand how she did that. So she did a sociology degree, and then she went into volunteering with that, things like Homestar and looking after vulnerable adults, that kind of thing, which I respect her for so much. And now she is a fully qualified counsellor at age 50, and I'm just thinking, I want that. Like, in my life, I don't want to be following one path. And to be fair, I'm 20 years old and I already have followed different paths in my life. Thought I wanted to do languages at uni. No, I don't. I'm now on social media. I'm not saying it's good to like flip between so many things in your life. Maybe it's not. And you do have to have stability, and yeah, you kind of have to have an idea of what you want to do. But I've got friends who are 20, 21, 22 who have no clue what they want to do, or they have a university degree and they think there's no way I want to do that job in it, like architecture, for example. So they feel even more lost, even with a degree, for example. And this is when the whole expectations come through, where you have to get the same job as your degree, or you have to live in the same area as your parents do, because you've got to stay close to your parents. And again, that is such a British thing, that you're not supposed to move out of your hometown, when that's something that I really want to do. I mean, it's been put on hold now, the fact that I'm living at home with my job, but I don't want to be living in the same area, you know what I mean? Like, my brother's moved to London. That's ages away. That's probably the furthest, well, it's not the furthest you can go. It's still not that far, but you know what I mean? It's out of here. I don't want to live in London though, even though for my job that would be amazing. But yeah, I'm going on a tangent and I'm going to stop myself before I do, and we're going to reel this back in. Hold on. So from a very young age, we're forced these expectations down our throat, and if we fail and we feel horrible about it, because we think, oh my god, this person's going to hate me for doing this, my parents aren't going to like me, my grandparents, my friends, my teachers, whoever, and you think everyone's out to judge you, when if people are judging you, then that's their problem. I know it's a lot harder when you're trying to please your parents, for example, but at the end of the day, they should be the ones to support you, and if they don't, then I do apologise, like, that's really sad for you, but they should, and they do. Like, all parents deep down do support you, and they want you to be happy, and they want you to do the right thing for you. And if you're in this position right now where you want to drop out of uni, or you want to change up your life and you're scared of what your parents will think, just talk to them. I know it's a lot easier said than done for some people, but that's what I highly think. Like, before you think, oh, they're going to hate me for it, just be honest and open. Like, that's the most amazing thing you can do in life, and the most important thing, in my opinion, whether that's in a relationship or whatever. Always be honest and open. And I wish someone had told me at age 12, and I've said this before in my dropout of uni episode, but I wish someone had told me that dreams might change and that's okay. Your dreams that you have at age 12 are not going to be the same when you're 16, 18, 20, 30, etc. You see the pattern. Your life path constantly changes, and your dreams change, your desires change, whether you want kids change, like everything does change. And although being told that at 12 when I'm set on doing languages for the rest of my life, I would have been a bit like, what? No, I'm doing this. But then when I've like made the decision to drop out earlier in the year, age 20, I would have been like, oh, so that person who told me that when I was 12, she was right, or he was right, you know what I mean? And yeah, I just wish there was like an assembly we had, maybe not age 12, maybe 14, I'd say, when you're starting to make those decisions. Just someone telling you like it's okay to kind of fall out of love with what you thought you wanted to do, and it's okay to change your mind again and again and again, because it's your life and we should start living it like it's our life. And maybe you're on a completely different life path now, and that's fine. So with these expectations, there is a huge impact on personal development. If you, I don't know, like we get scared that we'll be the outcast if we don't follow the crowd. And that is a purely human instinct, like an animalistic instinct from caveman times. And remember, we are animals, you know, we're not just humans, we are still a species. And every animal has the urge to stay in the pack, because otherwise you're left behind and you die. I mean, it's not quite the same now, but you're left behind and you'll be judged, and or you fear you will be judged. And I think times have moved on now where, yeah, okay, people do judge you if you're doing something completely different, or you don't have a stable job, or you drop out of uni, and there's all these little tiny things that people might judge you for. At the end of the day, it's your life. If people are going to judge you for that, then that's their problem. They've obviously got a lot of shit on their own. But I think generally, if you want to live a different life to what your parents have lived, what your siblings have lived, that's up to you. If you think it's going to work, or even not, like if you just want to try it. If you fail, you fail, but then failure is only learning from mistakes. I don't think there's any such thing as failure unless you get bankrupt. But I don't know, like things happen in life that you can't really schedule for. And that's also why I want to do another episode on routines and being flexible in routines, and kind of just being okay not following a schedule every day, because I think a lot of people are like me in the fact that you have to follow a schedule every day, and if someone cancels on a plan, like if you're meant to meet up with a friend, you get so annoyed. Like that is so me. If someone cancels, and I'm like, even if I had nothing else scheduled around that, I think, oh my god, no, like my hair wash routine is out of sync, or I don't know, like I just come up with so many excuses to feel shit that my day has been ruined by this 1 hour of plan that I had. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. But anyway, it is a human instinct to follow the sheep, and it's kind of sad because so many people stay in that mindset their whole life and stay in a job they hate. And I just want to say, whatever age you are now, if you don't like what you're doing, you have the power to change it. Only you have the power to do that. And if you have some backlash from it, from your friends or whoever, again, that is their problem, and you should want to do what you want to do in life. And again, even though these rules, expectations are all socially constructed, emphasis on that, we still feel the need to follow them. But like, who had the right to come up with these norms? And I said this earlier, but who honestly said, oh yeah, we need to make these rules that everyone has to get married, everyone has to have kids, and everyone has to have a good job? Like, who made those rules? I know that's kind of like the outline of a good life, to have a family, to have a good job, but what if you don't want a family? What if you don't want to have just one job your whole life? Like, I don't see why people stress so much about that. Just live the life you want to live it. And I think this is the time really to focus on what you want. So if you get anything from this episode, then just think about what you want in life. And that is a hard thing. Like, I know I've tried to talk to my friend who has no idea what she wants to do, but there's got to be something you want to do, whether that's just something general like, oh, I want to help people, or I want to earn a lot. I don't know. Just think about what are the 3 most important things in your life and make the rules for yourself. With this whole socially constructedness in the world right now, the media and the digital media and celebrities do not help at all. You see on Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're on, you see all these people living a good life, or they have so much money and you're like, oh, I should be living that life. And you see people going to parties all the time and holidays all the time, and you think, I'm not doing that, why aren't I doing that? And again, like, it's an expectation And again, the whole 20s thing is really difficult. Like, what are you supposed to do with your 20s? And people say you're supposed to have fun, but no, you're supposed to be settling down. And it is the kind of back and forth all the time. And I truly think, again, do what you want to do. Your 20s are for wanting to, like, work out what you want to do, you know? And you can still party in your 20s. I don't get why people always say, oh no, I've graduated now, I can't party anymore. Like, I know someone who says that, and I think that's stupid. Go and party. And, like, party until you have kids, and then party when you do have kids. If you like partying, go party. Like, I'm not going to be one to judge you for that, because I will be. I know I will be. I'm that person. But yeah, like, I don't understand why we all have this need to compare ourselves, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not saying, why do you do this? No, I'm saying for we as a whole. Like, why do we compare ourselves on everything, like social media, to our friends, to our parents? Like, for God's sake, why do we stay in this loop of just constant, I don't know what the word is, but constant failure in our mind, I think? So we're like, oh, we haven't done this, we haven't done that. That person has. Remember, social media is another social construct. You don't know what goes on in people's lives. Like, I love the celebrities or influencers or whoever, like, posts a really nice picture of themselves or from a party, and they say, oh, I'm posting these currently lying in my bed hungover or ill, looking like a mess. Like, I love when they're so real with that. And when people post like what you see on Instagram versus what you don't, but again, you don't know if they've edited those pictures as well. That again, you've got to be very careful with what you're like consuming. And that's why I tend to consume a lot more like news related stuff or educational related stuff when I'm on TikTok, social media, whatever, because I don't want to see pretty people all the time, or you know what I mean. And that's why TikTok was so bad when it was first kind of invented, because it was like the algorithm was just pretty girls on your For You page. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but that's what it was, and that's what everyone was talking about, and people are still talking about that. Now I don't have that. I'm not saying the people I have aren't pretty, but like now it's a complete mix of what is on your For You page, and I love that. And I think that's always going to change though, because I don't know, I don't want to get into the social media side because that's my job and I can't hate it, but I do. So now that I've kind of outlined the negativity of all these expectations, now it's time to kind of reel it in. And I just want to emphasize the importance of self-awareness and recognizing these imposed expectations. Like, if you've got this thing in the back of your mind, like, I spoke about this in therapy, and I was saying how I've always had this thing to be married at 25, and now that I've gone through a breakup, that probably won't happen now. And that really got to me for some reason. Like, that's the main thing that got to me about this breakup, and I don't really know why. And we discussed it in my session, and she was just saying, these are just rules you've picked up throughout your childhood, throughout your life, throughout especially the media as well. You see all these influencers and celebrities getting married really young. And yeah, it's cool if you get married young, but you don't have to. Get married when you want to get married. And in that session, we wrote down a whole list of rules for my life, which I love doing to kind of break free from these expectations. And number one was get married when you want to get married. Do things when you want to do things. There are no time frame of when you're supposed to do things in your life, and we need to stop thinking that there is, because there isn't. Especially if you're living your life for you, who's going to judge you if you're living it for you, you know? And we put so much pressure on ourselves to succeed and live up to these expectations. And I've talked about this so much, and I think at the end of the day it is the pressure you put on yourselves, because you think, oh, my parents are going to hate me for this, so I've got to do well. And it is that pressure from yourselves rather than anyone else. Like, sure, you might have those people that are down your throat, like in exams when your parents are down your throat saying you've got to revise, you've got to do well. But then for me anyway, it was more like, oh, I've got to do well for them. But really it was for like the pressure I was putting on myself to do well for them. But really it was for me. But we need to kind of stop doing this, as I've said, and we need to really see the role of introspection in understanding what we want, our values, our desires, and living the life you want to live. And I'm going to keep saying this again and again and again because it is so important. So let's rewrite our lives. Honestly, right now, get a pen and paper and write down your 10 rules you want to live by in life. My number one, I lied about the marriage one, that's not actually that important, but number one is to prioritize yourself above anyone else. Number two, I think, was to have boundaries for yourself and for other people, because you have permission to say no to things you don't want to do. You don't have to say yes to everything. And again, I had this expectation when I first went to uni, and yeah, I was a party girl. I was a semi-popular girl at school. Like, I love partying, I love drinking, like I did love those things. But at uni, because beforehand it was COVID, I hadn't done those things in a while. And at uni I was like, oh, I'm gonna like rewrite this to be, I'm gonna be the party girl, because I was like the academic girl at school, and I was like, no, I'm gonna be the party girl and say yes to everything, because that's what I thought you had to be at uni. And then I burnt out, which is weird because I've always burnt out from academics, not from like being social. So it was a very weird feeling. But then the whole of term one, I was just such a social butterfly, and going to every party, going to every event, doing hockey, doing socials, and it was just draining me. In term two, I had to drop out of everything. Not drop out of uni, that was this year, but in first year it was just so bad that I just had to say no, and I locked myself in the room. And I'm surprised I still have friends at uni, because I just locked myself away, which was the kind of opposite, and that was the isolation thing. And I'm going to do a whole episode on isolation and being social again, because I did that episode quite a while back now, and I think it's really important to stress that, especially in the winter, because I don't know about you, but it's really hard to be social in the winter, but we still put, again, the pressure on ourselves to be social. Again, we need to set goals and milestones in our life that like only we want to do. Like, do things for you, like, oh, I really want to do this in my life. Set that goal, set that milestone, set a date for when you want to do it by, whether that's to have a really successful Instagram account, whether to have a really good job, whether to have kids, whatever it is, or whether it to just be like, I want blonde hair in this year. I don't know, like just random things. Write a list of what you want to do in life, even if it's silly little things like dyeing your hair or going to the Bahamas. I don't know, but write down some goals and things you want to accomplish, like a bucket list kind of thing. Whether you want to do that in a 5-year plan or whatever. But then I know how stressful it is to think, oh my god, where am I going to be 5 years from now? I have no clue. I don't know whether I'll still be living here, living somewhere else, with another boyfriend. I don't know. And it's a very weird experience feeling to kind of be like, oh my god, where am I going to be in 5 years? And I hated that question at school when they'd always say that when you're like 18, 16, whatever, like post uni kind of thing. And I'd be like, I've got no clue. All I know is that I'm going to uni. And when I say that, I wish we had more talks on like options other than uni from age 18. I still would have gone to uni. I think I still see value in university and getting a degree, but I wish someone had told me that there are other options, because I did not think there were. But yeah, I'm going to leave you with this. It's been quite a hectic episode, I think. It's quite a short one as well for once, which is good. But I just want you to think about what you want in life and just break free from these norms and expectations, because at the end of the day, you are living for you, no one else. And if you are living for someone else, then you need to reevaluate that. Honestly, I'm going to be honest there. But yeah, like, just break free from it and see what you really want to do and how you want to grow. And this will really help you with self-discovery if you are on that journey. Just kind of think about what you really want in life. Like, I've only really started thinking about this now post-breakup, because I'm thinking, oh, like, I've got all this free time, what am I going to do with it? What do I want to do with my life? And it's so fun and I love it, and I'm back in the game of self-discovery and I've missed it so much. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same. Let me know if you think of anything else related to this topic, or DM me on my Instagram. I've got a new Instagram, by the way. Why did I think I forgot what my Instagram handle was? It's edwellnessdiet, all like one word. Go follow me on that. It's kind of just an ED recovery page, but I'm going to be talking a lot about different aspects of this as well, because I want to tie it to my podcast. So that's what I want to do. But yeah, I hope you have a good day, and I'll speak to you very soon, because I'm going to be on the grind now. And I say that so much, but I actually am. So I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.